replace the, at Parks and Rec meetings, he has notified his commission how desperately the fences need to be replaced. So, and, he wants to make sure everything is, as state-of-the-art as possible, but I don't think there's any plan to change the height of the fences or anything like that.
Okay.
Because that would involve a whole lot more expense. So the higher a fence, the more and more expensive it would be anyway.
Okay. No, I would just like to get some more information somehow.
I
Perhaps
was
we can
involved
have
with placing the yellow protector on top of the Little League fields back in
Yeah.
2002,
Wow.
right? And that will keep that protected. It's the bottom of the fence when it starts curling up where you can
Oh, yeah.
get hurt.
Yeah.
And there's no way to repair that unless you put a whole nother pipe across the entire lower surface of the fence all around the field to try and control the chain link as it's starting to age and take its own form.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh, I agree, it's desperately needed. I'm just curious what the plan is, that's all.
Perhaps Dave can come to the next board meeting and address the board on the specifics of
If
the
you'd like more
fencing.
details like that, I'd certainly, can we wait on this? Is that a,
We have to keep them moving along because we're coordinating the authorizations with when we do our bond sale. We do a bond sale typically once a year. We did make an exception this year. We had a note sale back at the end of April for the purchase of the public safety building, but we set that to mature with the notes that we did last year in August. We have notes maturing in August of this year, and so that's, why we come before the boards at this point in time to kind of coordinate it all to happen at that time.
How about, we could always just ask Mr. Putnam to come and describe to us what his plans are when it's time, because
No, that's all I want, that's all I want.
I
I'm
mean,
okay with this.
Because
Yeah.
this isn't exactly, this is just making sure the funds are
Exactly.
allocated. And obviously, if it's something that we don't agree with or something we don't feel is, we can just say, well, we're not going to do it yet. You got to come back with a design.
Nope, I'm all fine with that. I'm fine with this tonight. I was just curious if we get some information. Just because I'm involved in baseball, it'd be nice if I could feedback what's being done. That's
yeah.
all. That's all.
And Mark, maybe, you're bringing up something that, again, hopefully we can authorize on 150, but if Dave, I'm sure Dave has met with the Little League Board of Directors, but maybe Little League can contribute money toward it if they want a higher fence, or if there's a safety issue there. I mean,
Yeah, no,
it's
exactly.
town's responsibility, but
Yeah.
if they want to upgrade and contribute funds toward a certain section or something, I think we could talk about that and negotiate that.
Yep, that's a good idea. Okay.
I had a question on the middle school. That's about 16 years old now. Is that going to be a overlay, or is it going to be just fully removed and repaved, or
How much is it?
They have
30,000, so it
30
can't be a,
30,000.
probably going to scabble it and just,
Basically, I asked them to put the money in. We're going to fill that patch. 30,000 is not an overlay.
no?
That's a start for it, because it's also the access road. There's all kinds of areas that it's falling apart. So we're going to use the contracts that we have on the town side. We have a full DAP patch number, so we're going to, if they're going to give us the money, we're going to implement it and fix it up. But it's not an overlay.
And it's
I mean,
not the entire parking lot?
It's not. No, it's the bad areas.
Just, so it's a repair of
It's a repair. I mean, but the Board of Ed, the jurisdiction is that whole road, the loop road, the parking lot, and I mean, that's all. That's not a town road.
Right.
So it's kind of been always almost like an orphan. So this is the first start of the orphan getting some funds. Is telling them they're going to put the money in the Board of Ed. It's their jurisdiction. We're going to do the project.
Okay, thank you. I just thought it was low for a repaving.
Yes,
Right.
it's very low for repeat.
any other questions? Where are we at?
Ready to call a motion?
We have a motion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, without any other questions, I'll call the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? We'll move forward. Thank you all. Board of Finance Secretary money. It turns out we've already transferred some money to the Board of Finance Secretary funds. Thanks, Joe. And then they had another long meeting, and while we thought we calculated the right amount, we need some more money over there. So we're asking for another almost $400, $395 to get us to the end of this month. And let this be a warning to the Board of Finance that they cannot have a long meeting next Wednesday. They're only allowed up to a 3.5-hour meeting. That's all the funding we have. So we could take a motion to transfer this money. If there's
I'll
any
move
questions.
to appropriate and transfer $395 from account 01-01-120-200-500 contingency to account 01-01-126-100-413 part-time clerical recording secretary, Board of Finance, and forward to the Board of Finance for approval.
Second.
Any questions or comments? I have plenty. You think that's funny? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? They had a super long meeting at the middle school during budget season. And properly let that meeting go to its natural conclusion. The next item is it's a transfer. Listen, over a period of 3 or 4 years, we are putting $8,000 away so that we can put it together to replace the motor in the police boat, and that's a 50% cost share with the town of Waterford. But these funds are sitting out there probably in their general fund, and
They're
need
in
to
the-
be moved. They
right.
need to be moved over to a CNRE.
Correct.
So this is more of a housekeeping, accounting little thing. So we're taking that $8,000 that is sitting out there already in the general fund and moving it into the savings.
I'll put a motion out. Move to approve the $8,000 in general fund budget account 01-70-724-700-464 police equipment to CNRE Fund 32 to an account to be established entitled Engine Waterford Police Boat and forward to the Board of Finance for approval, and this will require a town meeting.
Second.
Any other comments?
Just so people that may not know, we do share a boat with Waterford. We're not just giving money to Waterford for their engine.
Yeah, we have a lot of shorefront, and of course we share the bay and the river with Waterford, so it's well used and it's properly used.
Perhaps we should title it Waterford East Lyme Boat instead of just Waterford
The
Boat.
Waterford boat, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Surprised it's like
Yeah.
that. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? Okay, the next is some budget transfers. And anything stick out on this that you'd like to point out to us, or is it all self-explanatory? Department transfers.
I mean, most of it has to do with expenditures in one category are greater than we originally anticipated. We have a couple of the higher ones are in our legal budget.
Legal stuff.
So, that more or less a little self-explanatory. And then for, in the building maintenance department, we need additional funds for the electric bills to make it through the end of the year. I don't know if anyone has questions on anyone in particular.
Just a curiosity question on the assessor account. The invoice was charged to the wrong account, and we have to transfer money to account for that by re-invoicing it to the right account. I know it's just an accounting thing, but I'm surprised that, based on the reason, that it couldn't just been re-invoiced to the right account, place the incorrect account.
It looks like the reason, for us to be doing a transfer, additional funds were needed in that account.
Okay.
Okay, I'll move to ratify departmental transfers in the amount of $15,714.31 processed for fiscal year end June 30, 2019, and to forward to the Board of Finance for approval.
Second.
Motion second. I see what you're saying, Mr. Daigle. If it's an accounting error, shouldn't we just be able to flip it back? But here it is in front of us.
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? We have a carryover retirement liability. We're always, when we're putting the budget together, we're 20 months ahead of the next year's budget when we start putting this together, and we're doing some actuarial numbers, et cetera. And we were out in front of the number a little bit, and we have a carryover of $50,000 or so that we want to forward to the next fiscal year. Is that
Yes.
basically the?
Yeah, I mean, the
scenario?
issue is, we have an aging workforce. I mean, in the last 2 fiscal years, the number of employees that have been retiring, we've seen an uptick. Our monthly payouts for those benefits is approaching $70,000, and for the longest time, it was under $20,000. So you can see we're having the increase. A lot of employees have accrued types of leave time that are on the books, and when they leave, we're obligated to pay them. For June 30th of last fiscal year, those accrued liabilities were $868,000. So the $100,000 that we've been putting in the budget, it is a help. We do have money left over this year. We're anticipating that we may have up to 3 of our, police officers leaving in the next fiscal year, and the police and the fire are the ones with the largest balances. So we need to be prepared for this because, let's face it, the departments really just budget the regular salaries and wouldn't have the ability to make such a payout. So we're trying to plan for it. So far, the number that we've been putting in the budget has been working for us. And since we do have funding left over, we're just recommending that we carry it over into next year's budget.
It makes it a lot easier than trying to figure out after the fact what we're going to do.
Well, it would be helpful if employees would give us prior notice when we're working on the budget, but it just doesn't work that way. So we're trying to be a little proactive here. And then we've also, with some employees, given them the option to take the payouts over 3 payments, 25% at retirement, 50% the following July 1st, and 25% the second July 1st. This way, we know what the numbers are and we can budget for them. So, we're working on different things to try to make it as, budget palatable as possible for the
But
town.
that is voluntary on their part.
Exactly,
They
yes.
can ask for the full amount.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I'll move to approve a carryover of up to $50,180 from account 01-01-140-100-128 retirement liability from the 2018-19 fiscal year to the 2019-20 fiscal year and forward to the Board of Finance for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Further comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Next one's real simple. This is for the next fiscal year, correct? Anna, this is for next year's
Yes.
budget that starts in a mere 3 weeks. And this is the CNRE, the savings account, the savings buckets, I like to call them. And when we approve our CIP and our budget, we include these things, and now we need to move them over to savings, like we did earlier this evening with another item. $185,730,000. Did I say that right?
You did.
$185,730,000 in CNRE for town projects and HVAC and various other projects as well. Servers, reval is coming up, and that's a big chunk of it is the reval.
Mark, you said it wrong the second time.
I know.
185,730.
185,000.
You added an extra 1,000 at the end of it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'll make a motion for this, but under the municipal projects where it says Waterford Police Boat, I'm just going to change that to Waterford/East Lyme Police Boat, so will be actually in the motion. So I'll move to approve a special appropriation for the following projects in CNRE Fund 32, which are consistent with the 2019-20 capital improvement plan and forward to the Board of Finance for approval. CNRE projects. Town projects, roofs, $10,000. HVAC replacement townwide, $15,000. Town projects, various, $17,730. Townwide servers, $5,000. Revaluation, $130,000. Waterford/East Lyme Police Boat engine replacement, $8,000. Total, $185,730.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded. Any comments?
Just a question, are we gonna have to do the same thing for the $8,000 we're appropriating here? Because the one we just approved was, or I guess it is the,
The first one.
It's a multi-year $8,000. And so the $8,000 that we did in the previous motion,
yep,
that was actually funded in our current 18-19 fiscal year.
Yep.
But the funds were put in the general fund, when in reality, they were funds that should have been included in the CNRE. So
it's just a budget thing, we won't have to do this next year.
Correct.
Got it,
Yes.
okay,
So it was a
Thanks.
counting correction.
I think these are all items that we've seen previously and had previous discussion
yes.
on, so I'm happy with that.
And at the end of the motion, too, I didn't add, this will require a town meeting.
Any other comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? There's one appointment to the zoning board of appeals, I believe.
Right, zoning board of appeals, they just have their 5 members right now. They have no alternates. There's 3 vacancies there, and Steve Carpentier, who chairs the ZBA, has said, that should be a concern. So Dave Schmidt is someone who's a new permanent resident of town, although he's been coming here for several years, but he lives up on Clark's Lane, across from Citgo Station, that development up there. And he's a former paid firefighter and businessman in the town of Wilton, and he also served on their Planning and Zoning Commission at a point in time in Wilton. He's an active member of Rotary already, has volunteered at a couple of Miracle League events. I've talked with Steve Carpentier about this. Mr. Schmidt is a Republican. Steve said he's fine with that, very supportive of the appointment. And as I said, there's, as of right now, there's no alternates on the thing. So I'll move to appoint Mr. David H. Schmidt, 6 Clark's Lane, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as an alternate member of the Zoning Board of Appeals for the town of East Lyme through January 6, 2020.
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further comments? I'm glad we could fill this seat. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? While we're on this subject, before we move off of it, I'll expand the subject matter a bit. That I did accept the resignation of Steve Kelly, our TVCCA representative. We are currently without a representative, so I'll ask all Board of Selectmen members to think about that, and maybe we shall ask someone to serve in that capacity until, I think it's just to the end of this year, where we'll fill it more permanently with our, when our appointments are made at the beginning of the year. So if you could keep that in mind, please, we need a representative for the TVCCA. Now I'll move off of the,
I might
yes, ma'am.
consult with Kathy Wilson,
Yes. Yes.
because they are the basic recipients of the services of that, and see if she has someone.
Absolutely, but if there's anyone coming from, organically from here, I
Mhm.
will entertain that as well, but yeah, I need to get with it. Obviously Kathy knows that Steve is no longer the representative, so, let's come up with someone. Ex officio reports, we'd like to start tonight.
I'll start. You already mentioned planning met yesterday. They had a public hearing, a very largely attended public hearing for a 5-lot subdivision down in Old Black Point that borders New Black Point, 30 West Lane. That was continued, one more meeting with the applicant agreeing to it, to go over some final details. Let's see, building committee, getting some good news now. The quotes came in for the roof repair on the high school. They had to go out for rebid because there was a mistake in the plans. Anyways, that came under budget than what they anticipated. And then the bigger news was, I don't know if you remember, but Lily B. Haynes had some issues with the moisture level in the floors, which prohibited them from putting the floor down. the flooring company said that, well, if you don't meet the moisture level, whatever requirement, then there'll be no warranty on it.
Right.
Right, so they were holding off this year, and that's why there hasn't been floors, and they've been monitoring it, and it's been holding at 71%, which is below the requirement. So it turns out we don't need to epoxy seal all the floors in there, which would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Great.
So we think it was just related to when everything was opened in the spring, or when it started. So that was good news. That would have been a real hit to that budget. So that's all I have. Yep.
They're still anticipating, to be finished with that school project before, in time for the kids to get back to school?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
They're in details now, like basketball hoops and stuff like they're getting down to it. The Lily B. Haynes, Nyack Center, if you've seen, finally the
Yeah.
old part of the building, the
Yeah,
windows are coming down,
Yep.
and the gym windows, which you
Yeah.
can put your hand through,
Yeah,
being redone. So
great.
it's coming a long way. So
Thanks. Thank
Yeah.
you, Mark.
I don't have a report this evening.
Okay.
For
Sure.
Parks and Rec, a couple weeks ago, they had, or 2 weeks, they had Touch a Truck, which was a fantastic weather day. They raised for the foundation that runs that, they raised over $10,000. So there was just a ton of people there from the beginning to the absolute end, which finished up with Lifestar coming and landing. People were able to go up and have a little tour of it and then watch it take off too. I think we pointed out before, we now have, and as Mark posted online, working toilets and bathrooms and showers at Cheney Park. They worked really fine. Mark did the ceremonial first flush to make sure it worked. So
Yeah. Number one.
it was just great. It's going to be a really great asset down there for everyone. One of the other things too at the parks now, starting after next weekend, now you have to have passes to get on weekends, and after next week, after school graduates, then it'll be every day. But if you decide to purchase a day park a pass, you can actually do it right at each entrance right now. You don't have to run around or go up to the facility purchase them a couple days ahead. You can take care of it right there. They have the swipe for the card and so forth like that. It's working well. And finally, John Lake, who has been a mainstay for Parks and Rec as one of the directors of the gate attendants and beach attendants, left us to basically, he's been wintering in Florida. Now he's going to be summering up in the Lake Erie area. So a really great ambassador for the town, a great guy. Questioned his judgment in football and baseball teams, but he was a Cowboy fan, Mark, so yeah. But anyway, he's a tremendous asset that we're going to miss, and hope he comes back to visit on the cage. That's it.
Thanks, Kevin. Mr. Cunningham.
Well, I attended the Historic Properties Commission meeting last night, and I think this is already known. I didn't report it last time, but the Bike and Barbecue event, unfortunately, will not be going forward this year. We're starting to gain some momentum, and I guess there were some problems with organizing it this year. Hopefully, maybe next season we can get it back if they can resolve the issues. At the Samuel Smith Farmstead, they have 46 plots for people that want to raise beds and raise vegetables, and they have 22 of those plots already rented out, and there's even more demand. So that seems to be a good thing. There's a great interest in it. I think what's happening is people that live in planned unit developments that don't really have land that they can cultivate some vegetables and things. They're really happy to be able to rent these plots. So they're making a little bit of money on that, and which is good for them. And there's a Historic Properties Open House Day, which is coming up on June 8th. So I would report that to everyone and hope everyone can take advantage of the historic properties in town. That's my
Terrific.
report.
That's coming up. That's this Saturday, isn't it?
That's this Saturday.
Yeah, and there's also, while you're on that, because it should be in my report too, they're having, I believe, a ribbon cutting or something. And
Logo brand.
a logo branding unveiling. That's the what was Smith Harris and is now
Brookside
Brookside Farm.
Brookside Farm.
And that's at 1 o'clock. So if any of you are available at 1 o'clock on Saturday and you wish to attend, you're invited to attend. And anyone in the public, of course, is welcome to attend our great historic home, now called Brookside Farm, right next to the community center out there on Society Road. Thank you for bringing that up and reminding me.
And just a reminder, our invitations for that had an RSVP request in it, so if you are planning to attend, let them know you're going.
Oh dear. We did? Okay, Sandy, I'm calling on you.
I got mine.
Good. And Mr. Daigle?
The Public Safety Building Vision Committee has approved the scope of work to go out to the architectural firms. We previously had selected 4 of the 9. That has been submitted. We will be hosting a bidder's question meeting on the 20th of June with all 4 firms participating. That'll be held at the Honeywell building in the morning. Following that, the bids will be submitted 2 weeks following that bidders meeting, and the Vision Committee expects to have a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen on July 11th, which is our next scheduled meeting when we have the bids to review.
Terrific.
On that, can I ask a question on that? What point do we anticipate, just so I get back to the building commission, that'll transition over to the building commission?
Once, the current plan is, once we award the contract to execute the scope of work, the physical construction work, then it'll go to.
Not the architectural in July, so after the architect will do his thing,
I would estimate probably early fall.
Early fall.
early fall. Okay.
We believe that we've been tasked to actually bid and accept the construction contract cost, and we'll turn it over to the building committee to follow through with execution.
Got it. Thanks.
Great. Is that
That's all
all?
I have.
Thank you. It's a lot of work going on over there, and I appreciate
Can I-
you chairing
can I
that.
just
Yes,
add
yes, sir.
that I've been serving on this committee with Mr. Daigle, and the committee, really various walks of life that are there contributing what they know and trying to make this a good project. But we're very fortunate that Paul has accepted being the chairman of that committee and has just done a wonderful job. And with his experience in the real world, it's really helped us out. So I just want to publicly thank you, Paul, for all that you've done for that
That's
committee, and great job.
Thanks, Dan, I appreciate it, and work to bring it through to fruition.
You've done a great job, Paul.
Awesome.
Really good.
There's a lot of work being done over there, and thank you for those kind words, Dan. I too see it when I jump into as an ex officio. I'm not on that commission, but all walks of life is a good point too. There's a lot of talent in that room from various sources, just like at this commission level, and those talents are being utilized. I have just a few short things that are keeping us active at the Selectmen's office. We had 2 public hearings presented by the DOT for bridge repairs that will be going on in the town. One was the Niantic River Bridge. That didn't get a huge public response in attendance, but they will be starting that project next spring, which will be repainting and re-gearing, including all the mechanisms of that movable bridge. And that's a 20-month project. That will be a loud project. When they are blasting the paint off of those girders, that gets very loud. That will go from sunup to sundown, and that will go for months. That will go for over a year to do that. They'll do that, and then they'll paint the bridge twice. And also they'll be